Hey, what's up, everybody? So earlier today, there was an interesting post put out by Xavier McKinney on Instagram, and it's a story here of Jaire Alexander. And so let me just share this real quick. This is from Xavier McKinney's story. As you can see at the bottom, he says, "Good work, Ja Money." So it looks like they were probably working out together. Here we have the 6-second clip.
You see it, man?
Yeah. Hey.
So this has led to a lot of reactions because I think with the uncertainty right now with Jaire Alexander, we don't exactly know what's going to happen. And so when you see Jaire with, one of his Packers teammates, it does, make you question and go, wait, does this mean anything? Is this any kind of indication as to what's going to happen in the future in the rest of this offseason with Jaire Alexander? And that's the thing with things like that. It's hard to fully know whether this means anything or means nothing, because even if the Packers were fully done in their mind with Jaire and they're just waiting for a trade partner to come so they can make a move where they thought they were getting enough trade capital back in return, I don't think that, Xavier McKinney and Jaire Alexander wouldn't be working out together, because clearly they spent the whole past season together. They're clearly friends. And so, even if Jaire was going to be gone, I think we could still see something like this. And so that's where, for me, I don't think this necessarily means anything. At the same time, you never know what could happen. I did find it interesting that it had come out. I think I was reading a few weeks ago an article from Matt Schneidman of The Athletic where Jaire had texted Nate Hobbs when he got signed by the Packers. And so it does look like, Jaire is still acting as if he's on part of the team. Because I think part of you would maybe think that if Jaire knew he wasn't going to be in Green Bay, that would he really message the new Packers player? I guess it does just sort of show, even if he knows he's not going to be in Green Bay, which we don't know what he thinks or what he's thinking right now. I think it just sort of shows the kind of guy he is, the kind of player he is, to still welcome someone in, even if he's not going to be there. But on the other hand, is there a chance in his mind he thinks he stays in Green Bay? That's hard to know. I just think when you look at all these different, things that have come out from Brian Gutekunst and different reports over the past, few months, it really does feel like everything is leaning towards Jaire not being in Green Bay. And this was the quote from Brian Gutekunst at the end of his press conference a few days ago regarding this. He said, "So John Thornton's his agent," talking about Jaire. He says, "We talk weekly about these things and working together on finding the best solution for everybody. Obviously, we invested a lot in Jaire, and we want to make sure that if he's not going to be on our football team helping us win games, that we get something back for that investment. So we'll see where that goes." And so Gutekunst has been very open about wanting, here he said, wanting to get something in return if Jaire's not going to be on the team. And it just feels like the talk is so public. We've seen those reports that the Packers, have been trying to trade Jaire. I think it would be, more unlikely that he stays in Green Bay, because as we had seen from Tom Silverstein I think it was the end of February, he had said the Packers had not approached Jaire about taking a pay cut because they didn't believe that he would accept it. And so we don't exactly know the conversations that Gutekunst is having with Jaire's agent. Is it possible that they've already recognized that with Jaire being in Green Bay, that whole thing is over? Maybe. And maybe they're just waiting to find a trade partner, and that's what they're discussing. Where would Jaire want to go? Where would he be okay with playing? And the Packers maybe using that information to try to see who could want to trade for Jaire. Or is there a chance that they could work out some kind of pay cut to where the Packers would feel comfortable with Jaire staying in Green Bay? I don't know. I feel like everything is sort of on the table, because a lot of it now at this point for us, when we don't have the details of these conversations with Jaire's agent, clearly we're just speculating and trying to figure it out. But I do feel like, all in all, with all that we've seen, it does feel like Jaire's time in Green Bay is over, which is really sad, because it was, fun having him on the Packers. At the same time, I do think the Packers are better with Jaire on the team, no doubt. Like, if the Packers went into 2025 with the corners they have already, with Nate Hobbs coming in, Carrington Valentine, Keyshawn Nixon, Javon Bullard, if Jaire was also there, that would just be a room that would have so much depth where you just feel really confident in that. And of course, Jaire, he's had the injuries he's dealt with, but if he was on the roster and he was healthy, we saw it last year when he was healthy, the Packers were much better with him on the field. And so if he stayed in Green Bay, the Packers would have a lot more depth there at corner. It does just feel like his time in Green Bay is probably over. But it's still something that we'll have to wait and try to see what happens, because the Packers could just hold on to him for a while, and maybe at some point, if they recognize no team's going to trade for him, maybe they eventually release him. But it could take a while before that happens. I assume best case scenario, if they really want to trade Jaire, they'd probably want to trade him before the draft so they get that draft capital that they can use on a player who could, come in and help them some way in 2025. If not, they could wait even longer to see if any team makes a trade. But it could be that other teams are sitting out there waiting because they know that the Packers could release him. They may release him if, no trade partner shows up eventually. And the thing is, when it comes to Jaire, if he was super cheap, I think lots of teams would trade for him, take that chance just when it comes to his injury history. But, his salary is still somewhat sizable. So the Packers would have to, or another team would have to be willing to bring on his salary to their cap. And so that's a question that, do they want to trade that draft capital, or do they feel more comfortable waiting for him to be released and then making a move where they don't have to give up that draft capital? So that's pretty much it. If you want more Packers content, feel free to subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys next time.